Welcome in Tuesday edition, Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio here this morning. We will discuss the happenings of last night. We'll talk about whatever's going on today, what potentially is going on today, and I don't know, just kind of hash it out. Frankly, we've talked plenty, but we have no idea exactly what's about to come out of our mouths over the next little more than an hour. Here with you on a show that's brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Lunch specials galore, different one every single day. Those come with an Eastside's fountain drink and bread. And the Egg Bowl is Thursday. Yes, there is a game. We might get to that at some point today. There is a game on Thursday night, 6 o'clock on ESPN, and they're going to give some a football jersey away from that game, an official Ole Miss game day football jersey. Any purchase there at the Blue Sky location here in Oxford, and you will be, or you can automatically enter to win that jersey. Again, every single entry comes with every single purchase. So, Blue Sky, Oxford, and coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for our friend Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for, and he'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. Shop that quote around. Do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You will love the product. You will love the service. Corey and the people at Clark Ford, they do a great job with service, with making you feel important, with taking care of you. They want to build a long-term relationship. They want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove to you what that means when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guest will join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline at some point this week, maybe. Perhaps, not sure. Rafters on the Square is a perfect place for your Christmas party or gathering. They can accommodate parties of 10 to 500. Great food with a Cajun flair and holiday drinks in a festive atmosphere. Call Jeannie, 601-842-0948 to request a catering menu and reserve a date.
We're going to talk about it in a minute, but I tell you who I actually feel somewhat sorry for today is David Kellum, who has Reb Talk tonight with Lane Kiffin. They just promoted it a second ago. As Bracken Ray just tweeted, might be one in, one out at Bure tonight for Reb Talk with David and JJ Pegues and Lane Kiffin. My voice has kind of bothered me. Neal's going to take over the rest of the show here this morning.
No.
Got a little cold coming on.
You got more than a cold in a minute.
So, all right.
There will be bloodshed in this room if that's the case. Yours or mine or both, but something would happen.
So, all right. We'll do a quick setup. Maybe it's not quick.
By the way, please hit the like button. Do us a favor, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's free. Just do that for us. We'd appreciate it. Kyle sent a super chat already, by the way. I didn't even get a chance to read it because I was doing my ad thing. Let's see. Kyle says, love you guys. Love you too, Kyle. Thank you. And also Marine Reb says, at what point does this get to be too much for the Ole Miss admin to deal with and just say, go away, man? I know it has gone way past that point for me. We'll touch on that.
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute.
Thanks. Thank you for the super chat, Marine.
Yeah, that's out of the chronological context that I'm going to give a shot here. So, all right. We knew that things were going all over the place yesterday, and then all hell broke loose, I don't know, about 13 hours ago, something like that. John Sokoloff, who covers Ole Miss and Mississippi State for WCBI, which is a CBS affiliate out of Columbus, Mississippi. We've actually complimented John on this peer podcast a good many times. He's always around.
We both like John.
Yeah. I think I called him at one point on the podcast, not like other TV guys or something, and I think it took him a minute to realize that was a compliment, but it was. He's the one who broke John Cohen to Auburn here 10 days ago, which feels like 17 years ago at this point.
Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm fairly certain I'm right if I'm not. Credit to you, John. But he was correct and very early in that reporting. We'll put it that way.
Cool.
So 13 hours ago, it says breaking, : Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin plans to step down as the Rebels coach Friday and head to Auburn to become the Tigers' next head coach, according to sources. Sources said the Tigers haven't officially offered the job to anyone yet, so Lane to Auburn is happening. Story soon. Okay.
Convoluted tweet.
It's written very weirdly. I haven't talked to John, but just kind of guessing. I think what he meant was, I'm going to turn my watch off from buzzing, or this is going to be a weird hour and a half.
You probably ought to just turn your phone upside down.
So I'm not staring at it or anything else.
Yeah, just keep your train of thought.
So, what he was trying to say, I think, was that Lane is planning to be the Auburn coach. He has an unofficial offer. He knows the parameters of a contract, and that he would have an official offer by the time he resigned on Friday. I believe that is what John was trying to say in that tweet.
I agree with
that. Is
that
correct?
I think that's what he was trying to say. Yes.
Okay. We had obviously been reporting digging all day. We had people that were telling us a very similar to true thing there. Now, we were hearing a lot of other stuff, too, on days and things and all sorts of stuff. I mean, Neal posted a rumor thread at, around 4 o'clock yesterday. And the point of that was, because a lot of people came back and said, well, I mean, this can't be and this whatever. It's like, yeah, that's the point. It's a bunch of rumors. We can't verify all of it to the point of making it a report. Hence why it is rumors.
Was why I was trying not to do that during the day.
Because it's very confusing. Yes, thank you. Welcome to our world.
You say, hey, these are rumors, and people say, so are you reporting this? And it's like, no, that's why the word rumor is up there. It's a rumor.
Yeah. Or, hey, this part doesn't make sense. Well, of course. That's why I'm trying to flesh it out. I
immediately started getting calls, why are you reporting? And I'm like, I'm not reporting. And in fact, after Lane's press conference, when I left, I talked to you for a minute, and then I talked to a national reporter who's a friend of mine who's pretty connected to all of this, and I said, what do you think? And he said, I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to take it. I know that he wants it. Went a little deeper than that with stuff that I'm not particularly comfortable reporting at this point, but I need to verify it through other people, but I believe there's been contact. He said, I said, so, what do you think on timing? And he said he thought, based on what he'd heard, that Auburn really wanted, he said there were people at Auburn who wanted this to go down on Friday so that Lane could be on the Iron Bowl broadcast on Saturday, meaning they could interview him from wherever the hell he was at that point.
Yeah, sure.
And then another sect of that group wants Carnell Williams to have his Iron Bowl moment, if you will, and they wanted to wait till Sunday to do it. And this particular reporter was covering the Iron Bowl and planning to go to Auburn on Sunday morning. And so I said, so you think it waits to leak until then? And he was like, it's going to be hard to hold something like that. It's not going to hold. And I said, why haven't you written it? And he said, well, I haven't written it because I'm only about 85 to 90% sure. And then, it wasn't long after that, I was grilling a dinner that I've still yet to eat because I couldn't get off the phone. I was grilling, and the Sokoloff thing happened. You texted me. Other people texted me with, is this legit? I'm like,
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a second. Let me kind of finish what's going on, and then
sure.
we'll go from there. Well, I've got a couple thoughts on that as well, but speculation, but nonetheless. So he does this. Sokoloff puts the tweet out, whatever time it was, 13 hours ago. So sometime around 7 o'clock. Lane, I don't think had seen it at that point and was just doing Lane things and tweeting as well. At that point, he tweets him opening the cover of a book about the Egg Bowl, about Ole Miss and Mississippi State at that point. Started tweeting, if you're going to open a book, I know another one you could have at least done right there before all hell broke loose. But nonetheless.
At least he got a copy.
He did have a copy. He can take it with him or not take it with him or whatever he's doing. Yeah. So then what's funny is that he obviously notices the report, but he doesn't quite go to it yet. He retweets another tweet from Sokoloff that said, Lane Kiffin on the Egg Bowl, seems like there isn't a lot of love in the relationship. That's a nice way of putting it. That was a quote from yesterday's press conference regarding the in-state rivalry. And then we started off on our chaotic night, or continued on the road to chaos. Lane tweets, that's news to me, John. The head palm thing emoji, nice sources, and then what I believe continues to be interpreted as you don't let the enemy at your table or something along those lines. The devil, the enemy. It is a self-help religious thing. I believe he picked up the phrase from Fish at church, but that's a guess. But I think that's correct based off what
Fish is the name of the minister, by the way.
Yes,
for those
yeah.
of you from Auburn, for our Auburn people, the minister's nickname is Fish.
Yeah. Sorry.
Want to keep you all in the loop.
Yeah. So that was whatever enough, and then we start debating. Okay, well, is he denying, not denying? Again, we'll get to that in a minute. But then he continues on.
Yes.
And
he did continue on.
That's where it gets. So he does like this mock press release news bulletin thing that says, "This just in, breaking news, John Sokoloff of WCBI News in Starkville," it's Columbus, but good enough, "plans to step down as lead anchor and head to WLOX to become their new lead anchor. Sources say WLOX hasn't offered the job to anyone yet, so John to WLOX is happening. Story soon." Somebody had to help Lane with that because I would give him no chance of knowing WLOX was a Mississippi TV station call sign.
So here's the first sign that he needs to get a better support staff. Because somebody should have said, this is a bad idea. Okay? This is a really bad idea. We play a football game at that point in 72 hours. We will be in the third, fourth quarter in 72 hours. You talk about pro mindset. Yeah. You just got through getting asked about this. You said it's not a distraction.
And we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it. And here you are tweeting about it. You made one tweet where you kind of, sort of.
Yeah, I'll give you that one to an extent. I'll give you that one.
A little.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some issues with it.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I'll get back to it. But at this point, someone should have said, this is a really bad idea. You look distracted. You just played a football game where your football team looked distracted. You've got stuff going on. This is a bad look for you. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, Tevin, we'll get there in a minute. Why it's not just funny. So then goes up. The guy who actually works for WLOX made a joke and goes, "I'm being replaced per Lane Kiffin." So then Kiffin just quote tweets that, says fake news. Okay, moving on.
I mean, and now I'm trying to read way too much into this, but you just, yeah.
Yeah, don't.
No, I know.
Lane did not put that level of thought into it, so don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Because we haven't even gotten to some of the press conference quotes yesterday. We're simply talking about Twitter.
Good point.
So then, and this is, we've already gotten, the last one was okay, funny, but too far. And then this is the one where it really sets up the day. So, not Ole Miss Problems, which is just a Twitter account, Ole Miss, whatever. I'd say parody. It's not parody, a comedy account around Ole Miss, I guess is the best way to put it. Has a meme that they did of a gravesite, a gravestone with what is clearly where a body has been buried, with somebody doing like a Deuce's peace sign thing next to it. And they've put John Sokoloff's name on the guy next to the grave doing the peace sign or whatever, and then John Sokoloff's career on the gravestone of that. Okay. So let's get to this part first, because we can kind of break this down into if he stays, if he goes, in a way, and do instead of what he said, what he meant.
I'm really glad you're this organized for this, because I don't know that I could have pulled this off. What you're doing,
really?
I'm actually.
You would have raced through this a little more.
I'm admiring your ability to sort of sort this out.
So here's the one that I feel. This is the one that doesn't carry a lot of minutia to me. To me, this is pretty cut and dry. Everything that he's done right here is refuting it, making fun of it, blasting John, all the different connotations you want to do up to the thing. I mean, it's clearly a pointed attack on Sokoloff's reporting, right?
Yes.
Okay. So,
and at that point, it's a meme account or a parody account. But at that point, when you acknowledge,
you are endorsing at that point.
When you endorse it, you are
because he put a laughing emoji over it. You are, you're
getting personal. You got personal with someone that you don't know.
So, point being is that Lane Kiffin, in theory, has done a lot over 3 to 4 years to try to say that the way he left Tennessee was a mistake, to talk about maturity, to talk about, he gave all the quotes about Oxford and who needed who and all that kind of stuff. If at any point over the next week he leaves for Auburn, it's all wiped away. He's the same old Lane Kiffin, 100%. And he comes across as bad as maybe any coach leaving a place ever, because you're tearing down a reporter who would be right, would be correct. You would be, in some ways, mocking the place who is paying you at the current time, and leaving on a level of terms that is kind of hard to fathom. So while my guess is he's still going, it has no forethought behind it. It's emotional. It looked like he was kind of losing the story to some extent, was trying to take it back, but did it in a very poor way. It's a deal where it is. It's an indictment that he would, for people who are caring about character or it cares. Now, some people don't. I mean, just, hey, go win, whatever. But anyone who is concerned with that, it is 100% 2007, 2008 Lane Kiffin, and it is a complete reversal into exactly what people thought he was the entire time.
Yeah, his path for leaving Ole Miss for Auburn without setting everything on fire was always really narrow. But it involved doing it with a level of dignity. It involved being kind of forthright, probably at the end of the week. It involved saying a lot of positive things about Ole Miss and Oxford and the people that he's encountered and met.
Which he had kind of done until last night.
He
had said really complimentary things about Ole Miss until last night.
He had kind of, I thought, like Saturday night, I thought, I think he's leaving, but I do think he sort of paved the way to do it in a way where maybe it won't be so bad, right? And then yesterday, that comes out, and I realized that we'll break down the report in a second, because there's two ways to view the report. One, it's right, and one, it's wrong.
Yeah, we're doing it's right now.
For right now, we'll say it's right. I realized that screws you up big time at that point. How did this leak? Why did this leak? It puts Ole Miss in a weird spot. It puts Lane in a spot. It's a problem. And maybe he just kind of panicked, because at no point did he come out and say, this report is inaccurate. I'm not going to Auburn. He had talked about this earlier. I'm not going to Auburn. I'm the coach at Ole Miss. I plan to be the coach at Ole Miss. If you want to deny it, that's how you have to deny it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you're going, this isn't true literally at this moment, and then on Friday you leave, if I'm John Sokoloff, I'm like retweeting everything. He won't. But you're taking these shots at a reporter that is connected to John Cohen. And look, John Sokoloff didn't make this up. He's not stupid.
No, he wasn't bringing that upon himself yesterday.
He didn't say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just take a gamble here that I'm right, and I'm going to break this. No. So he was sourced. That couldn't have been news to Lane Kiffin, let's be real. When he says, this is news to me, no, it's not. No, it's not. You've been asked about this now for a while. So it wasn't news to you. You didn't deny it, and then you kept piling on. It was an aggressive action. I thought the liking or the retweeting or whatever of the body tweet, I thought it was in very poor taste. I thought it was a mistake on his part.
It's something that, because it cost him capital with everybody. And here's my question to that. We're gonna go to a first break, but I'm gonna set you up with this as we do. If Lane Kiffin legitimately, because look, we can easily do he knows he's going to Auburn or he's not. Okay, we're gonna play both those scenarios out. However, if Lane we know that there's been some talk back and forth with Ole Miss. We know whatever. We know there's at least the potential possibility. I think it's a low possibility, but there's a possibility Lane doesn't know what he's doing, hasn't decided. Possible.
Okay, sure.
For the sake of the podcast.
Okay.
Question to you as we go to break. if Lane didn't know and he was still trying to figure it out to any extent yesterday, whatever that is, and that report comes out, what should he have done? We'll go there after the break.
Okay.
Think about it. We'll do that. First, let me tell you about Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com, 6 different flavors available for you directly to your door. We have a coaching search. I might need some of that because it's going to be hard to get off the phone and leave, so they can just get them straight to me. $20 off with code MPW. You can also get the 2-pound bags of individually frozen shrimp. Like we can sit at the grocery store, we'd say higher quality shrimp to you from Prime Shrimp. So that's primeshrimp.com. The newest flavor is lemon cracked pepper, and you can get all of them again with MPW is the code for $20 off your first order.
Walk On Sports Bistro puts everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Planning to have Pete's Pigskin preview when we preview a football game. That should be up at some point today. Dig into their mouthwatering made from scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. It's in Oxford or Ridgeland. If you stop in one of those two stores, please tell those guys how much you appreciate them sponsoring MPW and all of our content. If you haven't heard, Dead Soxy is excited to announce the next step after becoming licensed with the university. Dead Soxy is extremely grateful for the opportunity to partner with the Grove Collective, creating unique student-athlete NIL creations that give back. Visit deadsoxy.com/NIL to see which 2 collections drop first, to gain access to pre-sale opportunities. Also, they welcome you to the pre-Cyber 2022 sale. Buy more, save more. The more you spend, the more you save. So stock up on gifts, stocking stuffers, and don't forget a little something extra for yourself. 25% off any order using promo code Rebel Grove. $50 off or $50 or more, and you get free shipping. If you order $120 worth of socks, you get 30% off. $240 off, you get 40% off. So stock your sock drawers and have a wonderful holiday season. College Corner is your one-stop Rebel shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, just go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram, the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. We're brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. And we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. Different names. Like I said, if you live in Oxford, Tupelo, the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429.
Podcast also brought to you by Style Assembly, a women's clothing boutique on the square. They're running a special promo between now and the Egg Bowl to help boost Ole Miss's NIL efforts, donating 20% of all store proceeds during that time to the Grove Collective to help the Rebs retain coaches, players, whatever is needed. Frankly, depending on the situation, could be needed even more. As a bonus, just mention the ad, and you'll also be entered into a $250 gift card drawing that's for Rebel Grove subscribers and podcast listeners only. But not a better chance to get the wife, girlfriend, or yourself the perfect gift while also supporting the collective in the process. It's a win-win, so go knock it out of this dreaded holiday shopping. You can do that by stopping at the store on 203 North Lamar next to Blind Pig and Frock, or call them at 662-638-3163. You can also DM at Shop Style Assembly on social media to place an order and ask that special someone to fill out a wish list at the store to make shopping even easier. So Style Assembly just off the square. So what do you think? What would the move... If you don't know what you're doing, and Sokoloff reports that, you obviously, ignoring it is very difficult, but what is the move at that point?
Well, you don't know what you're doing. You have to ignore it.
Just let it go.
You have to.
You have to talk to your team about it.
Yes. Yes. You have to tell your team the truth. You owe them that.
Because you hit on it a minute ago. What is... Maybe the biggest indictment on this is to that tweet storm yesterday was you can't talk about, no, we're locked in and it's game and we aren't worried about distractions and whatever and pro mindset and then do that because it affected you to a point that you're doing this all night.
Yes.
There's nothing pro mindset about what he did last night at all.
Nothing. It was
the antithesis.
Amateur mindset. Not pro mindset at all. There was no focus there. No, if you're undecided at this point, I think you and the odds of that, Chase, are just so slim. They're just I'm finding, as I'm trying to walk through this exercise, I'm finding it difficult to do it. And so I go back to what we talked about yesterday. If I know I'm staying, that opportunity was there last night to say it. Point blank, I'm staying. I'm not going. He didn't want to do that yesterday. If you think about it, we'll get into the press conference, I guess, in a little bit. He said, I don't want to do the pine box thing, referencing Tommy Tuberville. I don't want to do the I'm not going to be the coach at Alabama thing, referencing Nick Saban in his final days with the Miami Dolphins, where the media just stayed on him every day, and he finally kind of broke. He's like, I'm not going to do that. Okay. But then this comes out, and now you can't control it anymore. You had to know, as big a name as you have, and your social media is one of the reasons that you have this big name, because you have this social media persona that is not your real persona.
Right.
You had to know that thing had a chance to pop. So many people are working on it. People are chasing it. People are getting ridiculed for not having anything firm. People are working this story. You had to think there was a chance. Hey, this thing doesn't hold until Thursday. How am I going to handle it when if that eventuality occurs? You don't do that, because now you've denied it, basically. In the minds of the average fan, you have denied it, and if it comes to fruition, you look like you lied about it.
Yeah, the connotation was you denied it. Yes, no matter what you want to.
Even though you're talking about a technicality, there is no offer yet. Okay, let me be clear on the offer thing. Okay, the way this works at this level is you gauge interest. Auburn gauged interest. Are you interested? Lane Kiffin said yes through his representation. Okay. You start working on the parameters of what a deal would look like. And then you have contact, and I do believe there's been contact. I don't want to describe what that contact was, but I do think there was contact. And then at some point, and I think the point was to wait until after Thursday night's game. At some point, you say, are we in agreement on what this would look like? And the answer is yes. If the answer is yes, at that point you present a formal offer that is accepted formally. And then you go from there. So the whole he hasn't been offered doesn't mean much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm 100%.
I want to describe it in a way where people understand that. He hasn't been offered a job doesn't mean that he hasn't been offered the job.
No one is ever turned down in coaching searches, ever. Because they don't get the offer until they say yes.
Because they want to be able to say at the press conference, if you're Auburn, and in the scenario where you don't get Lane Kiffin, you either decide that, hey, this guy's crazy and I can't do this, or he decides he doesn't want to do it, whatever the case may be. You want to be able to go to whoever's next, and when they say yes, you want to be able to stand at the podium on Sunday or Monday or whatever in Auburn and say, this was the guy that we wanted all along. It's the only person we offered the job to. And be able to go, and that's true. Oh, did we discuss the job with other people? Well, of course, we did our due diligence, but this is the only person we offered the job to.
No, it's not old men not understanding the internet. It's money that is being involved in all directions here, guys. You do not understand the implications of what went on last night. It's not just Twitter. This is far-reaching beyond social media.
Yes.
You guys are looking for any way to just bow out of this. This had tentacles way beyond what you're giving it credit for last night.
You cannot minimize what happened last night.
Look, Auburn may still want him, but it's lost capital at multiple schools right now. That's what happened last night.
Fact.
I mean, I know.
Fact.
That's not a guess. Yeah, you two are just wrong. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
He has not told the team he's not leaving. I'm just going to tell you that. He's not told the team that. per multiple sources inside the team. Lane has said he has not addressed this with the team.
Yeah.
Multiple players.
You think some players said
players
that yesterday.
were asked about it yesterday and said it's not been addressed. Players have told me privately that it's not been addressed. Players' parents have told me privately that it's not been addressed. Which would jive with the we don't talk about this stuff. We have a pro mindset, which doesn't jive with what happened Monday. That's the point.
Did you think, because I think I did, when in real time I was writing and you're listening, but I was trying to transcribe and not miss words, especially on that answer. I understand the implication if he's staying to be, I'm just not dealing in anything where the words get taken out of context or nobody's going to believe me anyway. But the Pine Box thing and the Alabama thing, in essence, was I'm not going to stand up here and lie to you, so I'm just avoiding the question, right? Because in both those instances, the coach lied and then took the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the way to read that in some way was...
I read it as I'm taking the job. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm not. But I'm not going to tell you that I'm taking it because, I'm here for 3 more days. That's how I interpreted it. Not saying I'm right, okay? Let me be clear here.
Yeah. We were just, I was literally trying to parse through words.
What went through my mind as he said that was, wow, he's admitting that he's taking it, but he's telling you that he's not going to do that deal where you can throw these words back in his face. That's what went through my mind. I could be incorrect. My thought process could be flawed. It could be faulty. It could be completely wrong, but that's what I thought when I heard that.
I said on yesterday's podcast, and I talked about with some people yesterday that was asking me, hey, if Lane goes to Auburn, how is that different from Tuberville? And I said, Lane hasn't said that he's not going to Auburn. He's handled it to that point as well as he could handle a really weird situation, frankly, outside of, whatever.
Sure.
You could get real minutia, but for the most part, it'd have been pretty good. And because of that, it was nowhere near Tuberville because Tuberville's doing the Pine Box thing. He even says on the radio after the Egg Bowl, I'm not going anywhere. It's all crap. He basically asked Neal and then why they were there. Not basically, he asked why they were there. All those different things. That's what last night changed. And again, maybe Lane doesn't care. Maybe Auburn doesn't care. Maybe the fans don't care in some places. But it became worse than Tuberville last night. It's 2022. Social media is different.
Yeah.
There's lots of reasons why. But when you go to that level and attack the report to that level, you leave, if he does leave, caveat, it's worse than Tuberville.
And if he stays.
Yeah, we can transition there.
I told somebody close to him yesterday, I said, after tonight, if he stays, he's lost capital. Now he'll get it back to a degree because fans are fans.
Well, and he wouldn't be lying. If he stays, the tweets would be from a straight result standpoint.
Yes,
that is incorrect. I did not resign on Friday, and I was not announced as the new Auburn head coach.
Fair enough. As long as we don't have to pretend. If he stays, if anybody does the Auburn thing wasn't real, I'm going to lose my mind on that. I'm not playing that game. But what I said to someone close to him was, if he's still here a year from now, he can't do this again. The next time he does this, he has to be gone. You can't keep doing it to people. And I'm convinced I'm right. I don't care what the record is next year. You can't come back next year and School X's job is open and your name gets thrown in there because God knows your name gets thrown. You've got to, when your name comes out for that, you've got to say, I'm not going to X. I don't want it. I'm happy here. Unless you are going to X. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
You can't do this again. Capital got lost. Capital's been lost. Bottom line.
And the only way to guard against that is a buyout that makes it prohibitive.
Yeah.
You can't, hey, just don't do that, okay? Okay. Fine,
the way to repair it, if you're planning on staying, and I just don't put much credence in this. And it's made a bunch of people mad that I gave a percentage on McCready and Siskey. And people got mad at me, and I understand. It's emotional, and people are frustrated. I'm having a hard time making I think you are too. I'm having a hard time making the case for how you end up staying.
Well, I mean, you end up staying because last night puts you in a position where going turns you into such a large negative character that.
Here's the deal. If you stay.
I mean, it's an easier thing to stay at this point because that's an easier way to rebuild.
You got to do it right.
Sure, but that's doable.
It's doable. It's nuanced. It's going to require some humility. It's going to require a degree of apology, I think, at this point. Hey, I decided to look at something. I think you have to acknowledge that you looked at it. I think you have to, because he clearly has. I think to pretend that you haven't is disingenuous to a fault. You have to say, I looked at this. I'm happy here. I've decided that I'm really happy here. I'm completely in. I apologize for the distraction. I felt like I had to explore this for my career, but I'm here and I'm not going anywhere, and we've got work to do, and I'm eager to get to that work. That's the only way you people go, okay, I get it. Because otherwise, this is.
Well, and you can spin it as you chose to just stay. You chose Ole Miss. Okay. I mean, fans will believe you. It's fine.
Yeah, it's true.
Whatever.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, you're fine here. I don't think staying is a hard sell now. I don't. I mean, look, are you injured versus where you were 24 hours ago? Yes. But again, you can make all that be true in theory. I mean,
kinda.
It's college football. We'll move on to something else in 3 days.
That's true.
Okay. No, look, he refuted John's report, and he's a rebel, and he stayed, and he's recruiting for you in the portal, and the portal king's back. I mean,
you're right.
PR 101 freshman can do that.
Right.
That's an easy thing. Where
when you put the emotion back in it for the fan, they'll go, "He's my guy. We're good."
Yeah, right. Staying is fine. They can go laugh at Auburn and enjoy all that schadenfreude and all that stuff. 100%. That's staying is an easy thing right now. Frankly, from a personal, what it looks like to his reputation and all that, staying is much easier. Going is the problem because of last night. And I'm not saying he's not going. I'm just saying because he might not care.
Yeah,
he might not read the room that way.
Right.
But it's the way I read it. And there's a certain tone deaf to it. I mean, yesterday, again, Lane hasn't been in the Mississippi Ole Miss minutia for 25 years, and I'm not going to bash him for that. But, I mean, it's been mentioned in the thread. Pine Box and Tuberville is still a topic that kind of gets whispered. You don't really do that, especially when you're discussing going to Auburn. It's not like, hey, I'm Pine Box, I'm not going to Washington State.
Right.
It's Auburn. It's literally the same thing.
Same thing, a quarter century later.
Exactly. With the last guy who was probably as dynamic as Kiffin from just a personality standpoint. So, it's fair-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, Tuberville with Twitter would have been interesting in 95. So, I guess my point in all that is to say staying is easier. Going is very complicated, although, I mean, Auburn will embrace him, and it's not going to affect him in Auburn. It will simply just it will turn him into villain number one at Ole Miss for the rest of time.
For sure.
Period. I mean, it will be.
Yeah. We were joking yesterday. I said, all that animus that Ole Miss people feel towards LSU or Arkansas or Texas A&M kind of going to go away because it's all going to go into one. That's going to get funneled.
Yeah, the state stuff's in the fabric, so it'll stay. Yeah. But it's anything beyond that.
And some people be like, the LSU thing, whatever. But no, it's going to get funneled into Auburn. It's going to be hard to, engender a whole lot of hate towards Texas A&M when you have that much hate toward Auburn.
Yeah, Ross is going, I'm good. All that's over. Okay. Kind of set you up last time. I'm going to do it again. We'll talk about it for a second. We're not quite at the time. We've got to stop. Today, tomorrow, and you can say, hey, if the message is this or if the message is that, we've got time. We're just hanging out right now talking. If you're Ole Miss, at what point are you stepping in? At what point are you requiring some form of clarification is there a point, depending on what happens in the next 48 hours, where you consider not letting him coach on Thursday? What goes into if you're Keith Carter and you wake up this morning, what's the next 48 hours?
I got to know, have you agreed to a deal? Have you agreed to a deal? Are you, for all intents and purposes, already Auburn's coach? I've got to have a conversation about what happened last night. And then I got a decision to make if I'm Keith. Do I play hardball or do I let this thing play out? Even though I got to think, I've got to suspect that Keith has at least had conversations with Lane in the last 48 hours. I've got to suspect that. If he hasn't, he's had conversations with Lane's representation, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
I mean, duh.
Yes. The answer is yes on that.
Okay. So if you do that, you should know by now. Is your coach staying or leaving? You should have a pretty good grasp of it. And if you think he's leaving, you have a decision to make. Do you let him coach the game on Thursday? Is that the best? I think at some point you do have to do what's best for the players. Is having their head coach out there, even if he's not completely in.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. I don't see, and not to cut you off and let you continue the conversation, is I don't see how he gets through today without having to discuss it with his team to some extent after that much social media blitz last night. Because you just walk in the locker room and go, no, pro mindset, guys. We're locked in. We're not going to do that. Ugh, that's a tough one.
I know. I mean, they have practiced today. Guys there's a group of seniors that this is basically their last practice at Ole Miss. As regular season practice. They'll have a bowl, so they'll do that later. But, there are guys that, this week has a different meaning. And there are guys on that team, I can assure you, that want this game and want this game to be focused on beating Mississippi State for the third straight time, not on all of this. And if this is a distraction, and it clearly is, there are player parents that are tweeting stuff and liking tweets. And to assume this is not a conversation away from the facility, these are not, as someone said, and I've said this all the time, these are not robots. These are people that go home to their apartments and they have moms and dads and girlfriends and friends and stuff, and they talk to people, and people are asking them, hey, what happened? Hey, did you see this? Did you see that? To expect for this not to leak into the minds of the players is ridiculous.
Yeah, Brian, no matter if Lane is staying, going, or jumping up and down on whatever or tearing up the field, you do not fire him because the financial implications to that are asinine.
Yeah, no. You can't do that.
No. You were trying to get a buyout from Auburn if he leaves. You are not trying to fire him and pay anything.
And by the way, on those people talk the audio, we realize we have some audio issues. I will tell you that here in the next week or two, the plan is to completely redo this with a brand new setup. I'm in the process of we've contracted somebody that they're putting a proposal together. It's going to look great. I think it's going to be great. Can't wait to do it. Just not quite to that place yet. Hopefully to have it by the end of December.
Yeah. We'll continue the, if you were Keith Carter, if you were Ole Miss, what situation that looks like. Look at some of what Neal just mentioned, too, in a second. Before we do that, I'll tell you about G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery. You have everything you need when you need it with G&M. Also with the ability to individually package your medications. You have every dose you need, morning, night. It is set up for those who need that extra step. So, again, that's G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222.
A-Stock Auctions is a Nashville-based online auction company. The mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items at A-Stock Auctions start at just $1. That's right. Every item starts at just $1. Shop now at astock.bid or download their app. Name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. A-Stock Auctions has multiple locations around Nashville that offer local pickups, so don't miss out. Want it, bid it, win it. We're also brought to you by Solutions RX. It's a probiotic multivitamin and supplement company created by Ole Miss pharmacy alum Chris Cornelison. It's cold season, flu season, stuff's going around. You're going to catch stuff. Ask how I know. You want something, you want make sure that you're up to date on your vitamins, some of supplements and that kind of thing to give you the opportunity to kind of bounce back quickly. Also, if you're taking diabetes medicine, high blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medications, those typically cause side effects. Highly recommend prescription support. It's going to put vitamins back into your body. It's going to help alleviate those side effects. It's going to keep you healthier over the long term. And that's always the goal, right? Be healthy. SolutionsRx.com. Promo code OEP at checkout to receive 10% off your first order. We're brought to you by Holcomb Portable Buildings, 7991 Highway 7 South in Holcomb, Mississippi. At Holcomb, they custom build your building to your specifications. However you want your carport, ATV or storage shed, barn, hunting cabin, or other buildings, Holcomb can accommodate you. You pick the color, the style, the windows, the doors. Holcomb makes it happen. In-house financing available, free delivery and setup within 75 miles of Holcomb as well. 662-226-2233 or holcombbuildings.com. You can also find them on Facebook or Instagram at Holcomb Portable Buildings. It's holiday season for you people who socialize. It's party time. Game Changer patches are the only two-patch system available in the market. Stop hangovers before they start. Warm-up patch used before while you drink. Overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next place. Go to GameChangerPatch.com. Promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase.
Podcast is brought to you by Johnston Hill Creamery. Johnston Hill Creamery Thanksgiving orders are available if you haven't taken advantage of that. Remember, pickup will be November 22nd or 23rd. So if you handle that, if you already got that out of the way, it is time to go pick those up. They make our Salisbury artisanal cheeses, charcuterie boards, grazing tables, and much more. Also, hopefully you're using them for your tailgate on Thursday, and they're now an official member of the Grove Collective, trying to help Ole Miss with its NIL efforts. So support them for that. Johnston Hill Creamery, that's 662-419-9201, and you can now order directly from their website with a lot of their items. That is johnstonhillcreamery.com. So, I mean, as you said, players are not immune to anything by any means. They're seeing things. You had Brandon Dart liking some tweets yesterday, the father of Jackson Dart, kind of going through. I'm going through his account now. It looks like he might have unliked a lot of them at this point. There were some screenshots last night of
people getting
frustration toward Lane, I guess would be the sentiment that was being given in a lot of those likes.
I asked Jackson after the game Saturday night and got a...
Brandon liked the tweet 13 hours ago that said he should not coach Thursday, and he shouldn't have coached last Saturday either. Sabotaged a chance for the program to get to 11 wins. As of this morning, that was liked on Brandon's page. He also liked one from Tyler Jordan of Realtree, who said, "Take note that Cohen may be trying to intentionally tear us down, or this really is true, or both."
Can we go there for a minute?
We'll go there in a second. Let me finish this. Regardless, we are better than this mess. Hold your high and support our players. Ole Miss football, they laid it all on the line for us this year. Multiple people in the thread asking me to comment on Tyler's tweets. He cares about Ole Miss. That's it. He's looking out for whatever is in the best interest of Ole Miss. Realtree's relationship with the university is not harmed in any way whatsoever from this. That's fine. So
this isn't completely fair, but it's a podcast.
Okay. What are you doing?
If John Sokolov's tweet if the source of his tweet was John Cohen, is it possible that this was a Scott Woodward Mike Bianco moment?
Okay, let's break down.
Because Scott Woodward leaked about Bianco and put Mike in a spot where Mike had to step down. Mike had to walk away. Mike had to go, no, I'm not taking the LSU job, but this is my job. It's Ole Miss.
Okay, a couple things to that.
Now, Mike was not getting the job.
Yeah, okay.
And so it was a little more complicated because what Woodward did, and it was kind of cold. When kind of cold, it was ice cold. What Woodward did was basically do that so that he could look at some of the money people over there and go, yeah, See?
Yeah, there's two parts of this. The background to that is yes. There was and I'll be very, very quick here because I get there's a lot of people that don't really care about this background. But to set up what Neal's talking about, there was a segment of LSU influential people, including Skip Bertman, who was the former baseball coach, a legend, and AD, who wanted Mike Bianco to be the next coach at LSU. They were pushing hard, and they had enough capital that if Scott fought them to win, it would have gotten a little bloody. It would have been rough. I mean, that's not people you just push over.
My money would have been on Woodward winning, but it would have been some blood spilled. Yeah.
So instead of that, Scott, frankly, being pretty smart and playing chess, invited Mike and Cliff Godwin both to Birmingham to their agent's office to interview, and then leak the interview to the media, which then required Mike to go, I got to keep the job I have. I can't do this. And then Mike re-upped with Ole Miss, and the rest is history and all those sorts of things. So that was Scott Woodward's.
Great book.
It would, yes. It would. I should put a link up right now with 1,000 people online. So that's that way. Now, the guess is... And again, it's a guess. John Sokoloff and I know each other. I don't even have his phone number. We're not tight. I have no way to know the answer to this.
I sent him a DM. He did not respond.
Okay. So my point is, it's a podcast, so let's speculate and talk about it for a minute. Is that Cohen was to some level the source for this for John? Let's hypothetically say that is true. If it's not, then disregard the rest of this part. Okay. What was the motive? Why would you do it? Which you said he could be pulling a Woodward where he doesn't really want Kiffin, but other people want Kiffin and he needs Kiffin out. The problem with that is that there's no sign that Kiffin would just pull out because of that. This isn't the same situation. You're not getting the desired effect. If anything, you're just negatively affecting Kiffin on both sides, even including with Auburn people potentially. You know what I mean? Because you're so close to the end of the season, you're just trying to get through 3 days.
Is it possible Cohen's not the source?
Well, sure. Everything from he has some great source at Auburn that we don't know that's his neighbor's brother's dog's aunt. I don't know. Look, whatever. Point being is people stumble across stuff in ways that are weird all the time.
I'm kidding.
People stumble across things all the time. There could be some source that's ironclad and great that nobody even knows they're connected to.
Sure. Sure.
We break stuff like that over the course of our careers. I've broken a women's basketball search where I wasn't trying to break a women's basketball search. Somebody just tells you something, and there's stuff on other schools where I've known things, you've known things, where if I was covering our national, you go, oh, no, I could have done that. I knew that.
Yeah.
I could have broken 2 Mississippi State baseball searches. I don't cover Mississippi State or do that. So point being, you run across things. But there's a Occam's razor here that connects people who know each other where you go, this is probably the likely scenario of how this happened. And I think we get there. The question I have, and this is not criticizing John's reporting. I'm not saying this is true. I have no idea. So if John, if you're watching, I'm not offending you here. The question also is, we had somebody go, hey, that's true, and I need you to put that out, or hey, that's true, but we're not ready for that to go live yet, and it wasn't necessarily supposed to get out? Or did he simply get it from somewhere else, went to Cohen, and he goes, I can't talk about that, and he put it out and trusted whoever that third-party source was that maybe Cohen told somebody they mutually know. There's a lot of ways you get this stuff.
I will say this. It's interesting to note that it's been at least, 12, 13 hours now?
And no back off.
And they haven't backed off at all.
No, it's sitting.
And so if it were just completely wrong, typically you're backing off by now. Bubba, thank you very much. He says, I'm late to get in. Did something other than his tweets happen last night? No, not really. Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure something did, but I'm not aware of it.
Got some?
No, I'm just catching up on the stream for a second.
Okay.
Got any thoughts on what happens today?
Well, is that it on Cohen? It's just one of those things. You
done? I think so. If Cohen leaked it intentionally, I'm having a hard time understanding what the motivation would be. when you know that it's in everybody's best interest inside the deal to get.
Well, no, if Cohen leaked it, it was to have a negative impact on the search. There's no other logical reasoning behind that.
Agreed.
With a secondary benefit, and we're getting way down the conspiracy road. I don't believe this, okay? I do not believe this to be true, but people keep asking me this, so I'm repeating it and saying I don't believe it to be true. The secondary benefit is you're helping Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Because you're creating chaos in Oxford before they play Mississippi State on Thursday.
It's a parting gift.
Well, I mean, John has been publicly credited with Ole Miss winning the national championship in baseball over the last few months, so he might be annoyed and trying to get one back a little bit.
John Cohen, not John Sokoloff.
Sorry, yes. Yeah. John, not Jon. That is correct. Mike did credit John Sokoloff in Omaha for asking the most questions of any media member.
Yeah.
He did. Mike likes John.
That was a bold move yesterday to oh, gosh.
And then John will be at the press conference on Thursday.
If I have a criticism, and John couldn't have done it in this moment because you can't get an exclusive, and I wonder whether John did this. Because he was in front of Lane Kiffin at 4:30, and maybe he didn't get it until later. But if you were sitting on that or working on that, do you go up to Kyle or Brad Sheffield and say, hey, I've got a question I need to ask Lane. Here's what I'm about to write. I've got this. I'm giving him an opportunity to address it in person. But I don't want to do it.
My hunch is he did not have it. It comes out 2.5 hours later.
It was a subsequent phone call.
Yeah, I'm assuming it came after that.
Keelan, thank you for the super chat. I missed another one earlier that basically said the same thing. Why let him coach and let him recruit the roster?
He hasn't left.
He hasn't left, right? As of right.
He actually refuted the report and says he's still the coach at Ole Miss.
As of this moment.
That's the thing we can't lose here is that, again, right, wrong, or indifferent, it's why we're having a big podcast about it, and it's why you guys are all over our stream, and we appreciate all of you right now, is that technically, if you just write down what happened, and it was a book, and you're reading paragraphs, Lane Kiffin was linked to the Auburn job. He said it wasn't true, connotation-wise. Said it wasn't true, and he's coaching Ole Miss today. I mean, if you're breaking it down into a thesis, that's it.
Yeah.
Again, way more complicated, but
it's just hard to go there, but sure.
But right. I mean, my point is that's why you didn't walk in this morning. Keith Carter goes, "Nope, get your shit and get me."
Yeah.
No, he. But it creates this crazy, weird dynamic that is hard to put into words.
So let's finish the conversation about Keith. If you're Keith, do you try to get to the bottom of this, or do you just let it play out?
Well, no, you got to get to the bottom because you don't. Here's the problem: it's the internet, it's other media, it's two really good reporters who are. I said refuted it in connotation purposes. I mean, no, he did not come out and say, but SI is written by that's a team site, not Sports Illustrated like Pat or Ross. By the way, keep that in context here.
What are they writing?
Well, they just followed up on Sokoloff's thing. I mean, but that was not a national Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated does a really good job of making you think all their team sites are national sites.
Yeah. Boy,
it was not Ross. So point being, you don't know what's coming. That's why if you're Keith, this morning you got to figure out what's going on because this happened at 7 o'clock last night from a very unlikely place, and I don't mean that. Chet, love you as always. I don't mean that in a way of. Either my train of thought off. That's not a criticism of John. What I'm actually saying is that when you went into the day, you said, hey, something's going to break about Lane Kiffin today. It's going to create chaos tonight on the internet. John Sokoloff wouldn't have been at the top of your page on where that was going to come from. But it did. He created it.
Right.
So today, because of that last night, the bloodhounds that are on this to a larger degree, well, they're looking for even more food and even they're looking for things to kill. Marcello, Chris Lowe, Dellinger, Staples, Feldman. I mean, you've got a whole cast of characters now that have been chasing this story that you don't know if you're Keith that at 10 o'clock today, there's not text messages from somebody coming. At any point, it could blow up in your face. So, yes, that's why you've got to do whatever it is that you can do to figure out what is next and how you're supposed to respond to that. Because, and then, you got Rep Talk tonight where, God help David.
Well, David's not going to ask about this.
Well, no.
David's going to ask about the game.
He is. It's still weird.
It's beyond weird.
I mean, if I'm David, I do get a call today.
Yeah.
Let somebody else handle that.
Who'd be his backup?
I don't know.
Here's your moment, champ. Here's the ball.
Yeah. Hey, Eli Savoy, you want to come down and do a little rep talk tonight? No, thanks. I'm good. So, yeah, no, Keith has got to – no, I mean, this is all Keith's going to work on today because of this. 100%.
The bad part about the water joke, by the way, is that the reason that you're in that room is because Ole Miss is spending $60 million. Is it $60 million? I don't know. A lot of money on a renovated Manning Center, and that's the reason that we're doing it in that room. That room wasn't built to be a press conference room. Old stadiums have leaks in them everywhere. I promise you there are leaks at Bryant-Denny. There are leaks at Jordan-Hare. There are leaks at Stanford Stadium. They're renovating the guts of the Vanderbilt Stadium now because it's basically not safe. They're old football stadiums. They all have issues. I'm going to guess Neyland has a leak somewhere.
On a normal week where Ole Miss is just winning games and Lane's coming in and we're not having this greater conversation, it was a joke that you go, okay, fine. He made a joke.
Yeah.
Like when Andy would make jokes. Okay, great, whatever. It was the exact wrong time for it because everybody's already on edge. They're already parsing your words for leaving, staying, facilities, and NIL, and commitment's been such a big part of this.
David, come here.
It's the sky.
Look up. You see that blue dot? Yeah. That's the sky.
So it's hitting on so many different things because on Saturday night, I mean, you're getting popped on SEC Network about NIL and facilities unfairly and incorrectly by the people who are supposed to be part of your whole system. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like you're on CBS News. It's a sensitive underbelly that Lane hit for no reason whatsoever. That I mean, he said it, and I kind of had to stop and go, I know it's just his personality, but I mean, people were so locked in as they probably should be. The point that the very first thing that happened was people go, hey, he's not wearing Ole Miss stuff other than the visor. He was wearing a humble overhype sweatshirt instead of his normal. And now Lane wears all kind of goofy crap. I mean, on a normal week, you wouldn't even think about it. I guess that's the point, is that if it was 6 weeks ago and they were playing whomever, Kentucky, okay, fine, whatever. So, what happens today? Hell if I know. It changed our level of preparation yesterday. On anything. I mean, that's what yesterday did.
I mean, full disclosure, I started working on a hot board Saturday morning.
And I don't think Lane, I mean, it doesn't really matter because they're all mercenaries in some ways. I don't think Lane doesn't like Oxford. I don't think that's what this is. That's really not at all what this is.
The national person that I talked to yesterday said it's not about Oxford or Ole Miss at all. It's just about he feels like he can win at a more sustained level there. Now, is that accurate? I don't know. I haven't talked to Lane. Don't know. Again, I go back to my point, and I know you're basically right, so I'm conceding the point to you.
What are we talking about?
But I do think in the scenario where he stays, there does have to be, there needs to be, there doesn't have to be, there needs to be some context. There needs to be some conversation about why this went down the way that it did.
You mean publicly or between him and the administration?
Both.
Publicly, you're not getting that.
Oh, I know that.
There's not a chance. From all sides. Because, I mean, Ole Miss isn't going to want a public conversation regarding their coach potentially wanting another job in the division when he's got to go into the portal and recruit in a day.
Right.
I mean, that solves nothing. Yes, Brian Harsin did like 2 of Lane Kiffin's tweets last night, which is kind of funny.
Oh, that is funny.
He liked 2 toward Sokoloff. So,
did he?
Yeah, he was just reading the internet last night and hanging out. So,
counting his money.
Time was a flat circle.
He's got a big payday coming. They owe him. It's fairly soon. They owe him the remainder of the money.
How much is that?
It's like $7.75 million or something like that.
It's going to be a good day in the Harsin household.
It's a good day when that check comes in. Hey, there it is.
it is interesting that it takes. Look, I mean, this is and I get the Auburn people hate this because you guys have made that very clear in my Twitter account over the last few days. It is crazy how it takes so long to change perception of anything, where no matter what, I mean, Auburn's record the last 2 years has been fairly bad. They have the same number of NFL players relatively as Ole Miss. Ole Miss is documented to be in a similar situation from an NIL standpoint. I know Auburn keeps saying they have over 30 million pledged, but there's been no media outlet that has reported that with any specificity at all. Whereas I have the AL.com report, whatever you think of them. I mean, it's still the paper of record in Alabama, even though they've stopped publishing newspapers, or soon will. Has that happened yet? Will they stop publishing altogether? Or is that soon?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, the people in the thread, Dabo Swinney, stop. Stop. Not even. That's it. That's the extent of my willingness to discuss Dabo Swinney to Ole Miss. Just one word, stop.
Yeah. I guess my point in all that is there's still this perception, there's this huge wide gap between the two programs, and when you look at it from a tangible way, it just doesn't exist. I mean, it's not there.
Ole Miss is just hoping that maybe Jeff Lebby would take.
I mean, Jesus, it's the strangest thing.
I don't get it. I said this the other day. I'll say it again. Look, if you're Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin's leaving, and you were willing to pay him $9 million a year to stay, and they were, go after the big guys. No, I'm not talking about Dabo, but there are other people that you could go get. Go get them. Make them say no. And that's where, frankly, if I'm Keith Carter, I'm talking myself through this right now. I'm more concerned about what I do come Friday morning than I do what he does Thursday night. You know, coach. Because, look, if his team's unprepared and his team gets walloped, if I'm Keith, I'd rather Lane be standing there on the sideline taking the beating than off comfortable someplace, hanging out, tweeting about it, where somebody else is catching the L. No, if you're going to take an L because your team's not ready, you do it.
Yeah.
And if you win the game, you win the game. The players get the Egg Bowl. It means something to the players.
Yeah, sure.
They can take the trophy. And then if Lane leaves on Friday morning, he leaves on Friday morning. But my focus is on
what happens
next,
then.
And I need to be moving quickly. So my meeting,
the
more I talk about it, my meeting with Lane Kiffin today is not, hey, look, you can't lead the team through the Walk of Champions. Hey, look, you cannot screw that. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, whatever. I need to know, if you're gone, my ass is moving right now. We're calling people. I'm touching base with agents. If he hasn't hired a search firm, if they're going to use a search firm to vet people, today's the day to do that. Get moving. Because Tyler and I talked about this on McCready and Siskey Chase. It's a real thing. December the 5th is a real day. You got to get moving. Portal day. You cannot wait until December the 13th or 14th. You can't run that risk. You got to get going. And if he's leaving, he's leaving. There's no sense in being super petty about it. He's leaving. You better hope your team's prepared. If they take an L on Thursday night, that's on you. Because Ole Miss is better than State, and it's at home. And if Ole Miss loses the game, I'll absolutely pin it on this stuff. And if you win the game, you win the game. Cool. The players get the trophy. You still move on. But I got to know what's going on. Because today's November the 22nd. Happy birthday to my brother Ryan. I think he's 50 today. Is that right? Yeah.
Okay.
50 today. Congrats. But if I know that on November 22nd, if I know my coach is leaving, I can get started. Because I've got about 9 days to get a coach hired.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is going. I mean, you make a good point. Nothing's crazy happening in 48 hours if you tell Lane to coach or not coach. I mean, okay, sure.
I mean, the more I think about it, the more I don't care.
I mean, they're done with practice. It's over.
Yeah,
they're going to coach a game.
I mean, he's been out there. Let him coach. And again, if there's even a chance that I'm going to take a distracted L like I took last Saturday, I want you out there on the camera. I don't want to pin that on Derek Nix. That would be unfair to Derek.
Now I want that broadcast crew being very clear that I've offered a crap ton of money and I have a lot of NIL available for my program.
Well, that's a simple thing to do, Chase, because you'll have an opportunity to talk to them. It's my thing about Cole and all them the other night is no one stopped Ole Miss from going down on the field and going up to Cole and Rogers and Tom Hart and going, hey, I just want you guys to know where this story is. from our perspective. Because I said this on McCready and Siskey. I may have said it to you yesterday. Cole was down on the field 2 hours before the game.
Yeah.
I got to the stadium early. I was supposed to go to a tailgate with the girls, and ultimately one of them wasn't there, and Campbell texted me and says, I'm cold, I'm going home, and I said, okay, cool. And so I ended up turning around and going back into the stadium, and I got back into the press box like at 4:45, right about the time that the Ole Miss team got there. I saw the buses pulling in as I was walking back, okay?
Okay.
And when I got up to my seat, I noticed that Cole was down on the sideline. He was talking to Marty Biaggi. This is 4:50 when the teams arrive. So there was nothing stopping anybody at Ole Miss from walking over there and finding Cole Kubelik. He's easy to recognize. Find him and say, hey, I just want to tell you guys, here's what our side of the story is. So they should absolutely do that before Thursday night's broadcast. 1,000,000%.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, if Lane is staying, then a lot of the stuff that you got to figure out if you're the administration or whomever is doable and fairly simple, and things are weird, but you kind of have a minute to take a breath. If he's leaving, no, it's full throttle. Go now.
Now.
That's it.
Today.
That's
literally
where that stands.
right now.
Yeah.
Because Tyler says you got to have a coach in place by December the 1st, and the more I think about it, the more I think, you know what, he's right. You do. It gives you a few days to recruit your guys. When's the semester over? Winter finals? It's coming up soon,
First
right?
week of December-ish.
So you need somebody in town to meet with your guys before they bolt for the holidays and jump in the portal, and then peace.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPRC. 100 Mbps is available. That's the Ignite or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and more. Just get the best internet in Lafayette County as well as parts of Pontotoc and Union counties. Again, that's 662-238-3159.
By the way, the Jamie Chadwell thing was in a rumor. I posted rumors, and I said last night there were rumors about Auburn and James Franklin and Auburn and Dabo Swinney, and I said I didn't buy either one of them. There were rumors about Ole Miss and Jamie Chadwell. I don't buy that either. That's some agent talk, I think, people trying to push some names. Jamie Chadwell appears to be the leading candidate at Georgia Tech. And that's probably going to happen fairly quickly. I would be surprised if Jamie Chadwell were Ole Miss's guy. Jamie Chadwell's at Coastal Carolina. He's done a good job. He's making a little less than $1 million a year. He's never coached a single game as a head coach or an assistant coach in the SEC or even at the Power 5 level. I doubt that's the route they go. My guess is that would be a bit underwhelming. Nothing against Jamie Chadwell.
Yeah.
Who I'm sure is a wonderful guy. ACS is owned by Clay McNutt in Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider, a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. They've got a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. To learn more, it's acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. If you're coming in for the weekend, maybe you're staying on Friday doing some Black Friday shopping. I know Chase is getting up super early to go do his shopping. If your jewelry's on your list, go to Lamons. Lamons Fine Jewelry, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've got everything you're looking for gifts. They're the gold standard in fine jewelry. LamonsFineJewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle. Don't forget, Pinnacle can conduct a complimentary no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated can help you make a special trip, one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. Just give him some parameters, give him a budget, and he'll help you from there. 901-494-3387, jedwards at regencytravel.net. Oxford's newest Greek restaurant on the square is the perfect place to plan your Christmas party. Fabulous food, craft libations. Let them host your company dinner or festive party event. OPA can accommodate up to 200 guests. For catering or booking information, contact Jeannie, 601-421-7147. I'll have a mailbag up tomorrow. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors. serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. We'll have Neal's picks up on Thursday. They're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. If your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, Service Specialist can help. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You have nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call at 662-832-5138 or check out their new and improved website at servicespecialistltd.com.
I had something from the press conference yesterday, and now it slipped my mind on what it was.
By the way, what he said, what he meant is up. I didn't do it last night. I couldn't find a moment. I did it at 5 o'clock this morning, though, and so it's up. It's brought to you by myperfectfranchise.net. If you're a displaced corporate executive, you're wanting to put your company in your own hands, you're an experienced entrepreneur wanting to diversify, Andy Ledecky can help. He's a longtime Rivals board member, diehard college football fan, franchise veteran. He owns multiple franchises and businesses. He uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. Call Andy, put your life and career in your own hands. It's 100% free, so you have nothing to lose. myperfectfranchise.net. Andy at myperfectfranchise.net or 404-973-9901.
So the other quote that was of interest that we didn't hit on that I'll do now is a media member, I don't know who it was, Neal can tell me if he remembers, asked if Lane was concerned about players handling the coaching rumors, if you need to say something to them, something to that effect.
Parrish offered.
Okay. And his answer was, quote, I think about that. I've asked our coaches, do you think it's an issue? They've said no. Like analytics, we studied the past. We played in the last game at FAU in a conference championship, and that morning ESPN leaked that we were the head coach at Ole Miss, and the entire team knew we went out and won by 40. Those same questions were there the same week. We were one play away from beating Alabama, so not much analytics to show that would matter about a player performance.
That's fair.
That's fair. It doesn't change the calculus, though, of needing to address it after last night versus before yesterday.
Yeah, and it doesn't change the fact that on Saturday they looked distracted. They did not answer the bell the way that Arkansas did. And we can talk about penalties and we can talk about whatever.
Red zone.
Red zone. And when you're down 42-6, it was more than just one or two things. And nobody at FAU said, hey, I can't believe Coach is leaving for an SEC gig.
Yeah.
And
they're playing for a conference championship.
And they had been dealing with a month of Arkansas rumors. They knew Lane was leaving.
Just a matter of where.
It was a matter of where. They spent that week knowing Lane was leaving. It was not a secret in Boca.
And a lot of Florida Atlantic players weren't like, hey, if he goes, I'm going to Ole Miss with him. I'm headed. They
were at FAU, and they knew, hey, he's getting an SEC job. We always knew he would. Here it is. We get it.
Okay.
Way to go, Coach.
Yeah.
We're going to send you out with the win. Oh, and we're playing for a conference championship and a bowl game. So we're incentivized. We're incentivized to win this game as well.
Yeah.
We're not distracted. We're still locked into our goal, which was winning our conference and playing in the Boca Bowl or whatever it was called. That was the point. That's apples to oranges.
Obviously, if things happen positively or negatively for Ole Miss, it will change what this question is. But if this literally just festers and sits for the next 60 hours, how does it affect mood, attendance, that kind of stuff on Thursday night?
What's the forecast?
Cold and rainy. Or at least rainy. I don't know about cold.
I mean,
it's like 75% chance of rain yesterday.
If I'm a diehard fan, or if I'm just if I'm a diehard fan, I'm going no matter what. If I'm a casual fan, it probably impacts my decision. You know, went to Thanksgiving dinner earlier in the day, probably. Right?
Could go either way. They could rally around the kids.
They could rally around the kids.
You go, no, I'm going. It's
or
not their fault.
Like, I don't want to see it.
Visitors don't really travel for this game anyway.
No,
State won't have a lot of people there.
They don't bring a lot of people for this.
No. Ole Miss doesn't go over there in droves. That's just kind of the way that works. Yeah, right now, Thursday is 80% chance of rain, high of 59.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's
I'm excited about my walk to the press box. That'd be great.
Yeah. At the time of kickoff, 56 degrees with a chance of rain, something like that.
Oh, sounds pleasant. Yeah, I'd make him coach.
Nutt coached the Egg Bowl in the rain with his flat bill on in 11.
Oh, remember that?
He had like rain dripping off the flat bill.
And it wasn't the first time they wore the flat bill.
He wore it against Arkansas.
He wore the flat bill for the 49-10 game.
He did. It was not a good look on him.
I know.
We know what Houston's supposed to do. He's supposed to be either hatless or wear the straw hat or something. That's not the move. I might not be alone for the post game show, depending on how that thing goes. Saying,
who's gonna be with you?
Just wait. We'll see. We hadn't got there yet. We'll see how that thing goes. You guys were pretty calm by the night. I was kind of dreading after Arkansas, and it was fine, like completely fine.
I got to you pretty quick, didn't I?
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, all good. Does he catch any booze on Thursday? If this sits again, things can change either way. But
I think so. I think hurt booze, people whose feelings are hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jenny's got a good point. I mean, she says, and I think that's where a lot of fans are going to go. She said, I'm just going to watch the players. They worked hard and deserve support.
Yeah,
fair.
Sure they did. Absolutely.
Trying to win 9 games.
A lot of really good kids on that team.
Not a lot of Ole Miss teams have won 19 games in 2 years.
No.
Ole Miss can pull that off
tomorrow. It's not their fault.
Oh, they've done nothing at all. So, yeah. The call-in show before the Egg Bowl would require some things to go down between now and then. Things would have to percolate to get there.
A lot.
Yeah, we're not doing. I mean, Lane is still the coach. I'm not doing hot board stuff. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, not posting a hot board until we know he's gone. Period. The end. Never do.
Documentation-wise, he said it's not true. Connotationally,
said it was news to him.
Well, yes. The vernacular for that is that it is. You know what I'm saying?
I do, but
his intended connotation was not.
I don't know. I go back to
You're giving him that much credit.
Yeah, because if he wanted to say it wasn't true, it's real simple to say it's not true. If you ask somebody a yes/no question and the answer is not no, the answer is yes. If the answer is not yes,
I guess my point is
no.
he was trying to deflect it in ways to make it look like it is not true.
Okay, so it was misleading.
Yeah, I said the connotation, not what he actually said. He wanted it to be picked up by other people as this. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying, oh, no, he refuted it. La-di-da. That's not the point.
What's interesting is that 2 things haven't happened. One, we already said Sokoloff has not come back and taken it down. They haven't issued a retraction.
No.
And no national media has come out with the story that goes, it's not true. And we know how this works. True. And but we know how this works. Reporters are petty.
They would like to go.
And if you were one of the national guys that intended to break this story and a guy in Columbus, Mississippi at the TV station breaks it and it's not true, you're writing that it's not true.
Yeah, I don't mean this in a negative way. I mean this because I know how reporters are and, frankly, how I've been on stories. Is when he saw that tweet, Brandon Marcello's blood pressure went up a couple of notches last night. He went, hell.
Yes.
I mean, 100%. So, yes, at this point, it hasn't come down. Nobody said it's not true, and nobody's really jumped in the boat with him for whatever reason. Because that is the thing. I mean, you do that if you're Sokoloff and you're waiting on somebody to go, hey, yeah, you know what? Yes.
Well, I mean, I've worked this story really hard, and I don't have it where I could jump in either boat.
No.
I know if you told me, okay, Neal, now's the moment. You got to jump in one of these boats. There's a chance it sinks. Which boat are you jumping in? I know which one I'm jumping in. But I'm not feeling super great about it. I'd feel better in one boat than I would the other boat. But I'd worry about the what's it called? The water.
The surf?
No, when a boat is deemed to be ready to sail. There's a term for it. Shipworthy.
Oh, okay.
I think I'd know.
I was thinking christening. I wasn't sure where you were.
I would know which boat I felt was seaworthy or shipworthy or whatever.
Seaworthy sounds right. That's right. Seaworthy sounds right. our nautical thing for the day.
I'm not a big nautical guy, although I'm really interested in nautical stuff.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Just think it's interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you sail?
No, I mean, I've never sailed.
Maybe not.
No. I grew up in Ruston, Louisiana.
We all have rivers and stuff over there.
I mean,
Bass boats.
Seaworthy. Got bass boats for sure.
6 o'clock for Reb Talk. People keep asking on the stream. 6 o'clock for that there from Bure. Again, David is not getting into these waters as he's not supposed to.
Speaking of waters,
he's not supposed to.
That is an island that.
Hey, Mike Leach is an interesting guy, Lane. What do you think?
Yeah. Ewan, tell me some stories about you and Mike, and please go for 30 minutes. What are you thankful?
Quinshawn Judkins.
Lane, it's Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for?
Yeah.
Man, I feel for the guy.
I know. I mean, I really do. So yeah, that's tonight, 6 o'clock there from
This is one
of
those nights that you wonder if Lane's like, oh, I mean, I'm just like, I've known Mike a long time, and we used to hang out at the pool. That's about it. He's a nice guy.
I have not dug into it, but there does not believed to be a lot of validity to the rumors that Mike Leach is stepping down at the end of the season either.
Yeah. I do know kind of where some of those rumors came from, and I understand why they gained some
traction,
had some legs, but no, I mean traction, but there were no legs. Okay. I don't think Mike Leach is stepping down.
Okay. All right. Thanks to all of you. Lots of folks on the stream. We'll post anything we know at rebelgrove.com. Stay locked in there. We appreciate all of you who have subscribed and whatnot. Yes, Mr. McCready.
I didn't get to a couple of these, and I apologize to them for getting to them at the end. We just kept talking. It's my fault. CorinthDental.com has been great to us for years. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick, they're both devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. Call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth and let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing is available at CorinthDental.com. Also, Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate is based out of Jackson, Mississippi. They service the entire state in all commercial asset classes such as industrial, retail, office, medical, and land. They provide a plethora of commercial real estate services. Our guy, B.B. Mitchell, is the guy to get in touch with at Pinpoint. He sets himself apart with his ability to source off-market opportunities for investor clients that maximizes returns. So give him a call for all of your commercial real estate needs, 601-934-5008.
So, again, we'll be at rebelgrove.com the rest of the day. We'll let you know what if something crazy happens one way or other, what our schedules will be and whatnot. So, thanks to all of you guys. Head on over to the website. We'll put anything there over the course as we know it, and then we'll talk to you very soon. We appreciate it. Talk to you there later.